Welcome to another episode of Stand Tall. Just do a quick mic check, where we continue in chapter 10 of the Art of War, verse 25, although it is August 18th. So we are mix matching. Some of these chapters are pretty thick. Regard your soldiers as your children, and they will follow you into the deepest valleys. Look upon them as your own beloved sons, and they will stand by you even unto death. Let's go to the alternate translation. And that is the only one we'll be doing today. I think that is pretty self-explanatory, especially from a business standpoint. Treat your employees as you would your own children, and then they will die with you. They will follow you into battle and enjoy all the pizza parties. Okay, so the alternate translation: look upon your soldiers as you do infants, and they willingly go into deep valleys with you. Look upon your soldiers as beloved children, and they willingly die with you. If you treat Li Kuan says, if you treat them well, you will get their utmost power. And I think that's good. That's an easy one. That's just a reminder to always be nice. Always be nice to each other. And then let's go over to the Daily Stoic, Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. Pick it up. Get yourself a copy if you haven't. August 18th, Only Fools Rush In, a reflection by Epictetus. A good person is invincible, for they don't rush into contests into which they aren't the strongest. If you want their property, take it. Take also their staff, profession, and body, but you will never compel what they set out for, nor trap them in what they would avoid. For the only contest the good person enters is that of their own reasoned choice. How can such a person not be invincible? I like it. It's like you choose. It's your choice. It's your reasoned choice. That person who accepts that. So all of the reflections, reasonably choosing these, these are reasoned choices. So let's see what the reflection says. One of the most fundamental principles of martial arts is that strength should not go against strength. That is, don't try to beat your opponent where they are strongest. But that's exactly what we do when we try to undertake some impossible task we haven't bothered to think through. Or we let someone put us on the spot, or we say yes to everything that comes our way. There's a time in my life I was like that. Some people think that choosing your battles is weak or calculating. How could reducing the amount of times we fail or minimizing the number of needless injuries inflicted upon us be weak? How is that a bad thing? As the saying goes, discretion is the better part of valor. The Stoics call it reasoned choice. That means be reasonable. Think hard before choosing and make yourself unbeatable. I think it's important that in and of itself is very powerful. But if you couple that with what we've been learning about how accepting the responsibility of your choices or your non-choices, I think that when we bring these two together, it just goes to show you the power that it can be if you are aware of all of this stuff and you treat your people well, right? Regard them as children and they will follow you into battle. Look upon them as infants and they will follow you into the lowest of valleys. So, of course, it's not, but only fools rush in, right? Being the title. But it takes a wise leader to cultivate something like that in his people, in his army, in his nation. And so sometimes it is the most simplest of those two that makes us reflect and say these two dichotomous things about accepting and choosing our battles, reasoned choices, the reasoned choice. He's not, that person is invincible. Like, how is he not? So how could reducing the amount of times we fail or minimizing the number of needless injuries be weak when we know from past experience? And that past experience is being laid out before us in these very books as we talk about them. I think that's a good way to tie the two together. I mean, just such a simple reflection from Sun Tzu tied into such a complex reflection of making the choice consciously and accepting the outcomes. So, well, keep standing tall and on to the next.